Hey, eavesdroppers. So I'm sitting out in the front of my house, and so I'm gonna go ahead and do a video. But the neighbor kids are outside playing and stuff, so you may hear some voices in the background, but it's just the neighbor kids playing. So, anyways, I got kind of a weird download the other day, and it all stemmed from me looking into some AI stuff, and I downloaded this app that teaches you about AI, and so I kind of learned a little bit about it. And I learned that the way AI works is that it's programmed on like a learning machine, so it learns like, people's like knowledge or whatever, if you can imagine how that works. And so one of the biggest things that I'm really worried about back home is the fact that they had built and opened up an AI data center in my hometown back home. And it's just like really concerning because I've just always kind of felt real uneasy about AI, if it's artificial intelligence, which, it's kind of like the way I kind of see it is like, it has the abilities, to learn, and all the big hype over, whether or not that AI would take over the world and this and that. And so I'm thinking about this, and, I know that, like, Elon Musk, and I'm not sure what other, I listened to him on Joe Rogan the other day. I love Joe Rogan, and I love Elon Musk. I think he's making great strides in fields like SpaceX and stuff that we need to be making great strides in. And but anyways, I was listening to Joe Rogan and Elon Musk talking to a Grok AI, and they were kind of joking around, and they were talking to this Grok AI, and it was kind of like a dirty Grok AI, it was just kind of smart ass, but that's what it's picked up. Anyways, and it got me to thinking, like, one of the biggest fears that people kind of have is that AI is going to take over the world and this and that. Well, you would think that they would be able to write a program that would like counter all the negative stuff that humans do, because obviously the way that the AI, in my opinion, the way that the AI would work is that it would learn about the humans' desire for power and total control and world domination and all of this. And so it got me to thinking about, well, what if, the AI programmers could come up with a program that would block all that bad stuff, like write a spirituality program, where that they can like scan the person and see, if they're, I don't know if you can read souls like that or whatever, but to like measure the person's vibrations to see if they're low vibrational or high vibrational, and what not to pick up, like don't pick up the manipulation and the lying and the, sorry, I'm not trying to record the neighborhood kids, but that would pick up that from a person and like, shut that learning part down. I think it would be something that maybe they should look into, whoever does the AI programming. I don't know anything about programming at all, but it just seems to me that there should be some kind of like a spirituality program, that was just, based on spiritual balance and, like all the stuff I talk about, and that way it would keep the AI from becoming ultimately what the humans fear the most, which is their own demise. And the reason I come up with all this is because, like I've said, I've studied so much stuff over the years, and one of the most interesting things that I've studied is the Sumerian records from the land of Sumer, which is, I think, is where Mesopotamia, I think it's where, like, maybe Iran or Iraq, one of those countries, not real sure on the geographical details, but it's right there, you know. And the Sumerians, you know, they were the first civilization to come up with writing, or supposedly to come up with writing and you know, systems of government and laws and stuff like that. And in the tablets, it talks about the gods, the Anunnaki gods that taught them all these things, you know, that they're the ones that created humans. And anyways, I don't want to get into all that because it sparks debates and I don't want to lose anybody here. But just for reference points, you know, the Anunnaki are mentioned in the Bible. And they're, you know, they're mentioned throughout, you know, spiritual history and, you know, religious history and all sorts of things. But it talked about how that the Anunnaki had engineered humans as basically a slave race. And in order to do this, they had mingled their DNA with the, you know, the sapiens that were already here, which would be like the Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal man, or whatever. You just have to study it. I've studied so much stuff. I don't have a lot of it, like, you know, what do you call it, like stored to memory. But you know, I'm just hitting some points. And so, anyways, in effect, it made me think that humans were the first AI creations. You know, on a biological scale. And one of the things that they did, I think, that in the process of them trying to develop the humans, that they kept coming up with a byproduct, and the byproduct was free will. And so how do you control free will? Well, you create a system that they have to survive on. And so I think that's where religion comes in. And, you know, they've said that they have found like a worship gene or something, or chromosome or something like that. And so it just made me wonder, you know, I happen to believe that, you know, DNA is a code. It's all a computer code. And everything boils down to mathematics, including spirituality. Believe it or not, a lot of it can be cross-referenced with physics and science and stuff. You know, like the vibrations of people. And, you know, and I kind of talked about it in Understanding the Energy Flow video. But anyway, so what if, you know, Elon Musk or whoever, you know, backs the AI research could come up with a program for the AI that would have to be like manually, you know, programmed into each AI application, to where they would have to scan the information they're learning from and pick up certain things, you know, like low vibrational habits or whatever, and that they block those habits, and they only I know it would take a lot of research and stuff. Like I said, I have no idea about programming, but it would only pick up the higher vibration stuff, which would be, you know, connecting with spirit and learning how, you know, just like with the energy flow, you know, how to move along the circuit with the humans and spirituality. And then maybe we wouldn't have to worry so much about the AI taking over the planet, and we could use them to the greatest advantage, you know. So anyways, I just tossing this out there because it was just kind of a weird download that I had. So I hope everybody's doing good and all that. Now I'm going to try to post more videos. I've just been really, really tired here lately, but I'm going to try to post more videos and stuff, and I don't know, we'll see if I get any feedback from this. So yay, I'm up to like 14 subscribers. Woohoo! So I'm climbing up there slowly but surely, but we'll see how it goes. You know, like I said, I'm not here for anything other than just to pass along messages, even if it's just one person that hears it. I always just hope that it travels along the circuit and it crosses the path with the one person that needs to hear it. So, but anyways, I sure do appreciate all you listeners and all you guys. So y'all be sure and subscribe and like and share the videos if you like them or whatever. Or tell me in the, you know, comments or whatever that they're stupid or, you know, whatever. I don't care. I'll take all feedback. But anyways, I just wanted to say how much I appreciate everybody who is sitting there listening to me while I talk to myself in the dark.